Well, hello there, and welcome to another J&J Tabletop video. My name is Jake, and I just learned, I guess it's a rumor still, apparently Jeremy Crawford is also leaving Dungeons & Dragons and joining Chris Perkins on the retirement list, sidelines. Basically, a friend of ours in our Discord server shared the news and then shared a link from Screen Rant, and so I'm going to just go ahead and read some of that to you and maybe share a thought at the end of this video. Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins to leave Dungeons & Dragons design team. The guiding forces of Dungeons & Dragons for the last decade are both departing Wizards of the Coast. Chris Perkins and Jeremy Crawford have been part of the Dungeons & Dragons design team for decades and were two of the lead designers of the game's current 5th edition rule set, which has become the most popular rule set in the game's history. I think that's debatable, but many people feel that way. Recently, Perkins became the creative director for Dungeons & Dragons, overseeing the story direction of the settings for both the game and other media, while Crawford became the game director, overseeing the rules for the game. After leading the design of a new revised 5th edition and the new core rulebooks, both Perkins and Crawford are stepping away from Wizards of the Coast. Perkins announced his departure last week, and Screen Rant has learned that Crawford's last day will come later this month. Their departures mark a massive shift for Dungeons & Dragons, as the two were the primary shepherds of the game for over a decade and were the primary faces for the game in various videos, discussing new products and rules changes in official marketing videos. Why Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins are leaving Dungeons & Dragons now. The pair are departing on their own terms after finishing new core rulebooks. Got some art there. Speaking to Screen Rant about the pair's departures from the company, Wizards of the Coast's Vice President of Franchise and Product, Dungeons & Dragons, Jess Lanzillo, said that this was something that the company had prepared for. Both of them have been working on Dungeons & Dragons for a very long time, Lanzillo said. It's been a point of discussion for some time and something that we've been training up everyone for. They feel really good about the teams that they have in place and the legacy that they're passing on. Very similar to some of the thoughts Lee and I expressed in the Chris Perkins video that we recorded. The timing of their departure was also deliberate, as both waited for the newly revised core rulebooks to come out before leaving the D&D team. They wanted to make sure that the core rulebooks were really successful, that they were setting up all of the future leads for success, Lanzillo said. That has happened, and they feel really reassured that the folks in place will be able to carry on with the wonderful legacy that they've given us, and then bring their own stuff to the table, which they've already been doing. Screen Rant also confirmed with Lanzillo that both Perkins and Crawford's departure were on their terms and not part of some wider corporate move. It's one of those things where you finished a major keystone creative project and you do ask yourself, okay, do I have the next one in me for right now? Do I want to do something a little bit different, Lanzillo said. I think any creative can identify with that. Again, echoes a lot of thoughts that Lee and I had from our video with Chris Perkins. Natural question here next. Who will replace Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins on the D&D team? No direct placements were named, but existing team members will have a bigger space at the table. In the immediate future, no one will directly step in to replace Crawford or Perkins. However, Lanzillo mentioned that James Wyatt and Wes Schneider, principal designers who have been part of the D&D team for years, will both have a bigger place at the table. Lanzillo also mentioned that other designers, including Justice Arman, would also have progressive leadership roles as well. Sorry about all these ads. I guess that's how they have to make their buck. Although the team is losing a combined 40-plus years of experience with Perkins and Crawford's departures, other members of the team have stepped up to serve as the project leads of other projects in recent years. Outside the new core rulebooks, other designers have been listed as the project lead for all of D&D's releases over the past 2 years. Again, echoing thoughts Lee and I had in the Perkins video. According to Lanzillo, the D&D team is shifting to match existing team members' strengths. Right now we have folks in principal and lead roles that are escalating to take on more responsibility, Lanzillo said. We're looking at the team and our needs and to figure out how to really construct the team in a way where we can work to everyone's strengths. That makes sense. This is a question that Lee and I asked. Will the D&D roadmap be affected by Chris Perkins and Jeremy Crawford's departure? Imminent departures will not impact plans for D&D's future. Again, you just have to take a moment and step back and see the whole situation. Attending a press event earlier this year, the Dungeons & Dragons franchise team discussed a 5-year plan for future releases. Lenzillo said that roadmap will not be impacted by any of the changes. The roadmap remains the same, Lenzillo said. We have already set up the leads for all of those future projects. Chris and Jeremy don't need any substitutes at this moment because they were both in very high-level road mapping roles and capacities for the last year. They've been helping us gather that strategy, set it together, help us figure out the correct casting for everyone on particular efforts. We feel really good about it, and we're really happy that they're able to contribute to setting up that plan for the future. Closing the interview, Lenzillo wanted to express her appreciation for all that Crawford and Perkins have brought to Dungeons & Dragons. I joined the team a little over a year ago, and working with Jeremy and Chris has been one of the privileges of my career, Lenzillo said. They are fantastic people, along with being just fantastic creatives. I've learned so much from them, and that goes the same for the rest of the team. They've just been so generous at sharing their decades of knowledge with us so that we can move forward with this in this moment and really kind of let other people step forward and bring their cool, new, weird ideas to the table. And that looks like that's the end of the article. So, yeah, I don't want to try to manufacture things that we didn't already say in the video about Chris Perkins, but I just want to express my own personal gratitude. I know Josh and I know Lee and anyone else associated with this channel that's gotten to enjoy Dungeons and Dragons in any tabletop role-playing game. I feel comfortable expressing their gratitude to you, Jeremy, for all of the hard work and dedication you've given to the game. We make some jokes that that he doesn't always want to explain rules and things like that, and we even have a joke that he asks me for design ideas. It's all in good fun, and Jeremy, truly, from the bottom of my heart and from the bottom of our hearts here at J&J Tabletop, thank you for your years of hard work and dedication to the game. All that being said, yeah, I think if you're worried that maybe the game is going to change and that, like the house is on fire, I think the house was already on fire, if that's the way you see it. And what I mean by that is the game has already been moving in that direction to begin with. So I don't think this is time to panic. I think if you don't like the direction the game's going in, I suspect that will continue to be the case. And if you do like the direction the game's going to, I suspect that will continue to be the case. So this is a time to say thank you to Jeremy, to honor his contributions to the game and the industry, and to just wish him well. I think it's a very big time of transition at Wizards of the Coast and at Dungeons & Dragons in particular, and time will tell to see the effect that this has on the game. So thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear your favorite Jeremy Crawford stories and thoughts about this in the comment section below. And if you want to interact with others, please do. But don't forget to be kind to one another because these are just opinions. So thanks again for watching. Have a good one, everyone.